I'm editing the video and I'm kind of realizing that I seem really sad. I don't want to hide it because I am. It's way too obvious in the video. Long story short, I am just really stressed out about college applications, fixing everything that is stressing me out. So I am working on it. Yeah, no need to worry about me. I'm working on it. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. I do not have a mic. I haven't filmed in months. But we're here now. I am going to be talking a lot quieter because it is in the morning. Everyone else in the house is still asleep. The video that I'm doing is one that I should have filmed a long time ago. And it's a childhood writing tag, Christine. Who the fuck is Christine? Chrissy tagged me on the childhood writing tag. I'll link it down below. She created a tag and she tagged me, so I'm gonna do it. The first question is, when and why did you start writing? In English class, when I was in elementary and middle school, we would have like creative writing assignments where you would have to write a short story. But the first time that I actually started writing, like I actually cared about it and I started writing outside of school, was in 6th grade. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and I read Legend by Mary Lou, and I thought, hell, if I love those stories so much, why not make one? So I did. And I made like a combination of the two along with my own side of it. And I still have those documents to this day. Why did I start writing? I started writing because I was just like, why not? I don't even know why I started writing. It just felt like I needed to. Like I needed something to distract myself. And I needed something to keep busy. Why not do something that I didn't know at the time that I loved, but I knew that I liked it. I like reading books, so why not write one? 2. What was the first story you remember writing? Oh yeah, the story was about a girl named Lena. She was 9 years old and she went to the attic and she found her mother's old antique glass dolls. Like they were cracking from time and wear, and those dolls were actually real, like they were spirits, and she had to figure out a way to take the spirits out of the dolls so that they couldn't be trapped. Sun started rising and the spirits started coming out of the dolls and they all started crumbling to the ground, like cracking, like shattering, and they all went to heaven. That actually seems like something I probably would write today. Considering the short stories that I do write, a lot of them do have magical realism. Oh god, it's been 6 years. Maybe I should write that again. 3. What was the first full project you finished? And when, if you have finished one? The first project I ever like actually finished was my first draft of my novel. I think I've told that one here before, or at least I've written about it on my blog. Every morning of my sophomore year, I would spend 2 hours writing until I got it done. I still love that project to this day. I have set it on the back burner for now. I'm focusing a lot more on short stories, but that story does hold a special place in my heart. I love the characters and that they have evolved so much from the first draft. Right now I'm on like the 3rd draft, but then again it's on the back burner. I'm not really doing anything with it aside from writing about it when I feel like it, which is about once a week. What genre did you most enjoy writing as a child? Has it changed over time? Well, technically I am still a child. I've only ever written like fantasy, or like the genres that I've written now have kind of evolved into magical realism. I love mixing real world with fantasy because making fantasy is a lot more work. Even then it was like real world mixed with fantastical elements. The first ever story I wrote, not the one I wrote 3 years ago, but when I started like, you know, dipping my feet into writing a novel, longer forms of work, it was like a dystopian book, so it was set in the future but it had fantastical elements to it. Do you remember the first negative feedback you got on a story? No. I got a lot, fam. I don't remember everything. The first real negative feedback I ever gotten on a story must have been my English teacher when I was in middle school. She was a bit harsher on me, but I mean I handled it well because I think that she kind of knew that I really loved writing before I did, so she critiqued me a lot more heavily, and she kind of realized with my personality I was able to kind of take it. Only that I can think of, like the first time I shared something with someone in a long time must have been when I wrote that fanfic thing. Not really even a fanfic, this crossover. I called it a crossover fic. This crossover fic with Evan, because I haven't asked for a critique partner in so long. It was very jarring for me to hear that feedback from him. 6. Who is your favorite character that you wrote as a kid? Sam was the love interest in the dystopian fantastical book I just mentioned. He was an awesome kid. I loved him so much. I think I loved Sam because he was the first character I ever written that was completely different from me. I mean, not really completely different. He was East Asian, but he really loved computers, and for me, I'm not that type of person. So it was really interesting to kind of put myself in his shoes and have to think in a different way. Share some old writing of yours. Chrissy. Oh, honey. Oh, by the way, if you couldn't tell, I haven't looked at these questions in a long time, so I'm just answering them just like that. I don't know what the next question is gonna be, but if we're going to, let's look through some of my old writing. I don't really know how to screen record, so if it doesn't work, oh well. So you can see how it is actually organized. So you can get a little hint into how I organize my stuff, which is, I don't. Oh, yeah. In 2016, I went through a period, you can see, I went through a period where instead of doing NaNoWriMo, I decided to just choose a writing prompt every day. And I do think that is a lot better than NaNoWriMo. I have my own issues about NaNoWriMo. If you want to do NaNoWriMo and you don't want to write a novel, that's a good way to do it. Oh, this is edgy. Look at the font. What type of font? Rock salt? Okay. This first line is a writing prompt. I have seen that before. But the rest of this is my own thing. So, I turned into a girl that didn't know how to kill into one who knew how to make dying hurt. Okay, first of all, the grammar sucks, but it never was what I planned or what anybody planned. It was just what happened, and I don't have anyone to blame but myself. And that's the most scary part of it. I used to have my life ahead of me. The government never suspected me to have more than one power. I was living the dream, the fake dream, of course, but a dream of one. I lay in this cold cell of isolation for the 7th week. I was put here by my ex-boyfriend Cole, whom he has promised to get revenge on me. It will never be the same. I write why I'm about to die. This is my story, my last words I write right now. Read my confessions and read it well. That is a writing prompt. 1. 2. I used to be heavily into roleplay. You remember The Selection? You remember that YA dystopian series that nobody liked? Yeah, that one. But on Instagram, it actually has like a thriving community. If you want to get into roleplay, I definitely recommend getting into it because it was actually really fun. I would still do it to this day, honestly, if I wasn't so busy. But it is a lot of fun. It's a great way to make friends. I still love that community so much, and it does hold a special place in my heart. But this is a prompt from a roleplay that I and 2 of my best friends at the time made, and we loved it. And oh my goodness, those characters, oh my goodness. Cole and Katie, if any time I don't talk to those girls anymore that I roleplayed with, but if they find this, yeah, a lot of my writing prompts were about them because they were just like, oh, I know some characters that I already made. Imagine being that arrogant to write fanfic for your own story. I can relate. Number 8 is, what are parts of your writing that have improved since then? The person that was writing it would have been a scholar, so I would have put maybe a bigger word instead of terrifying to exemplify that. The passage did feel like an introduction. I do think that it could have been shortened if it is going to be an introduction. Doing the right next to each other, although they are spelled differently, it did feel a bit odd when I was reading it out loud. You can hear that. I learned a lot of technical stuff as I'm realizing. I learned how to outline for the first time since a few years ago. You have to suck before you get good, and even then, even me now, who's been writing for like 6 years, is only going to be getting better and better. I love making fun of my old writing. Do that. I don't ever want to do that publicly. I'm just afraid that I would be telling someone who is new at writing that their writing sucks. There is a difference between reading writing when you were like in 2nd grade to reading writing now. Not a good writer in comparison to someone who has had years of experience. Someone like Shaylin Bishop, who is currently seeking out a bachelor's in creative writing. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I'm never to say it out loud. This person. I am a good writer in comparison to myself. And while I am a big advocate for only comparing yourself to yourself, I do recognize that if you're new, you want to compare yourself to more established writers. And don't get me wrong, I am not established by any means. I would hate to show my old writing that I did, say, a year ago and say like, oh my god, I suck so much, and someone who has just started writing sees my writing and, oh, if this sucks then mine is shit. And don't get me wrong, I've done that. That's not me trying to be arrogant. I've done that myself. And another thing is the age thing. I'm 17. A lot of writers, they don't start when they're my age. They start off when they're in their 30s or 40s and 50s. A lot of people start taking writing seriously when they retire. And while I can be like, oh, look at this writing I made as a teen, you would expect it to be fan fiction, but no, I am taking this seriously. And I would hate for someone who is, for example, 50 years old, who has just started writing, to compare themselves to me, who has been writing seriously for a few years. Anyway, that's my little rant on that. That went a lot longer than expected. 9. Are there any parts of your writing that haven't changed much? Oh, yeah, you can tell. A lot of fantasy aspects involved in real life. The last short story I wrote was about a mermaid and a lifeguard on Long Beach. I've been to Long Beach. I practically live in LA. And the short story I'm writing right now is about a vampire in an internment camp. A lot of fantastical elements and some real stuff. If you could tell your childhood self one thing, what would it be? Just keep doing what you're doing. Because I think when I started to take on longer forms of work, a 300k fantasy epic without even realizing it. Yeah, I did that when I was 12. I had no intention of editing it. I had no intention of anyone else reading it. And I just wrote for the fun of it. I just wrote to experience that novel. Now I write with the intention of getting published. I write my short stories knowing that I'm going to submit them to literary magazines. I write poetry knowing that I want to get it. I want to make it a collection. When I was 12, I shouldn't have been worrying about writing to get published. That's absolutely ridiculous. I do take writing seriously. I don't know if I should, honestly, because I am 17. I'm not 18 yet. I'm not in college. I know additional pressure, so I don't know if I should be worrying about publication. I don't think I should. I think that I should just be focused on the present, of having to learn from what I'm writing. Improving my skills. When I was like 12, it was just for fun, and I have no regrets of just writing for fun. I feel like everyone worries about publication when it is their time. Sometimes beforehand. You always see writers who are teenagers that worry about publication when they haven't even finished a book yet. I don't know where I was going with that. Write for fun, my dude. You're doing fine. Thank you, Chrissy, for tagging me. I didn't even think who I was going to tag. Okay, give me 1 sec. I'm a professional vlogger, guys. Don't worry. I'm going to tag Don Kozak, Savvy, and Allie from Matrenox. I will copy and paste the Christians below. Thank you, Chrissy, for tagging me and for making this awesome tag. You should all watch her video. Watch the people I tagged. Hopefully they do it. My name is Danielle. Please subscribe. I am active on Instagram and Twitter a lot, and I'm working on revamping my author website to mention. Okay, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you what happened in my next video. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.